She didn't stop loving you. She left because she stopped feeling you. And right now, every text you're tempted to send, every desperate call you're about to make, is pushing her further away even if you don't realize it. But what if I told you that if you act in one very specific way, she will come back? 100%, no begging, no chasing, no pleading, and she won't be able to stay away. She didn't leave because she stopped loving you. She left because something inside her stopped feeling you. And if you don't understand that difference, you will chase her straight into permanent silence. But here's the truth most men never hear when a woman walks away. The story is rarely over. It's paused. And whether she comes back or disappears forever depends less on how much you beg, and more on how you behave when she's gone. Right now, you feel the panic, the late-night urge to text, the instinct to explain yourself one more time, the fear that if you stay silent, she'll forget you. Your chest tightens because your ego is wounded. Your attachment system is activated, and your mind is replaying every moment searching for the mistake. This isn't weakness. This is attachment theory in action. When someone becomes your emotional home, losing them triggers the same neural pain centers as physical injury. Your brain floods with cortisol. Dopamine drops. You crave her like withdrawal from a drug, and that craving pushes you to do the exact things that guarantee she won't return. Here's the dark psychology most people ignore. When she leaves, she expects you to chase. She expects emotional chaos. She expects long paragraphs, apologies, explanations, promises. And when you deliver exactly what she predicts, something subtle happens inside her subconscious. She feels relief. Not attraction, relief, because your reaction confirms her decision. It validates her power. It proves she still controls your emotional state. Validation feels good. But mystery? Mystery creates obsession. Think about the last argument you had. Maybe she said she needed space. Maybe she said she wasn't sure anymore. Maybe she accused you of not understanding her. In that moment, your instinct was to close the distance, to fix, to repair, to prove. But attraction doesn't grow under pressure. It grows in uncertainty. When she pulled away emotionally and you chased harder, the polarity flipped. She became the prize. You became the pursuer. And the more you tried to hold on, the more her nervous system felt suffocated. This is where most men lose her permanently. They confuse love with control. They think constant contact equals connection. But female psychology is deeply emotional and intuitive. When she withdraws, she isn't just testing your loyalty. She's testing your emotional stability. She wants to know, if I remove myself, does he collapse? Or does he stand tall? Because deep down, a woman is drawn to security. Not words, energy. Imagine this scenario. She stops replying as quickly. Her messages become shorter. You feel the shift. Your mind starts overthinking. You double text. You ask if everything is okay. She says she's just busy. You sense it's not true. Now your anxiety spikes. You check her online status. You analyze her tone. And eventually you confront her emotionally. That confrontation isn't unattractive because you care. It's unattractive because it signals emotional dependency. Dependency kills mystery, and mystery fuels desire. Now here's the twist no one talks about. When you suddenly stop chasing, when you pull your energy back, when you respect her distance without drama, her subconscious alarm activates. The same attachment system that was triggered in you begins activating in her. Humans want what feels scarce. When your validation becomes unavailable, her dopamine system lights up with curiosity. She wonders, why isn't he reaching out? Did he move on? Is he okay without me? That uncertainty is the seed of return. But understand this clearly. Acting indifferent is not the same as becoming cold. Women are emotionally intelligent. Fake detachment feels fake. What brings her back is genuine emotional recalibration. You must shift from needing her to choosing her. That subtle internal shift changes your posture, your tone, your energy. When you stop trying to convince her of your worth and instead focus on rebuilding your own life, something magnetic happens. You become centered. And centered energy is powerful. There's a psychological principle called emotional withdrawal. When someone senses that access to you is no longer guaranteed, they reassess your value. Not consciously, subconsciously, this is especially strong. If there was real connection before, trauma bonding intensifies it. If your relationship had emotional highs and lows, passion, conflict, Reconciliation. Her brain associated you with intense dopamine spikes. When you disappear calmly, her nervous system misses that stimulation. Silence becomes louder than words. But here's where discipline matters. The silence must be dignified. No passive-aggressive posts. No stories aimed at her. No indirect messages through friends. Silence that is strategic is weak. Silence that is peaceful is powerful. The difference lies in your intention. If you withdraw hoping she notices, she will feel the pressure. If you withdraw to heal and grow, she will feel the shift. You need to understand female attraction at a deeper level. Women fall in love not just with who you are, but how you make them feel about themselves. If during the relationship she felt pursued, desired, emotionally prioritized, she felt safe. But safety without challenge turns into predictability, and predictability reduces dopamine. When you become slightly unavailable, not emotionally distant, but purpose-driven, you reintroduce polarity. You remind her you are a man with direction, not a man waiting at her emotional doorstep. Picture this. 2 weeks pass. You haven't texted. You haven't reacted to her posts. You've been working out, reconnecting with friends, investing in your goals, not as a performance, as transformation. She scrolls. She sees you smiling in a group photo. Something stirs. It's subtle. A mix of jealousy and curiosity. Her ego whispers, "Why does he look fine?" And that whisper turns into a check-in message. "Hey, how have you been?" This is the moment most people ruin everything. Because the ego screams, "She's back! Don't mess it up!" And fear pushes you to over-engage. But calm confidence is your power now. You respond warmly, but not eagerly. You mirror her energy. You don't reopen old wounds immediately. You let her invest. Let her ask questions. Let her feel the space she created. Psychologically, when she invests effort to reconnect, she increases her own emotional attachment. This is called the investment principle. The more energy she puts into rebuilding connection, the more valuable the relationship becomes in her mind. If you do all the emotional labor, she feels relief. If she does some of it, she feels ownership. Now let's go deeper. Sometimes she left because she felt unseen. Not unloved, unseen. There's a difference. You may have provided loyalty, attention, consistency, but emotionally, she might have felt misunderstood. When she comes back, and she often will if you've handled your absence correctly, this is your chance to shift dynamics. Listen more. React less. Validate her feelings without surrendering your boundaries. Validation is not submission. It's emotional intelligence. There's also the ego factor. When a woman ends a relationship, she unconsciously expects you to try to win her back. If you don't, cognitive dissonance appears. Her brain struggles to reconcile the idea that you valued her deeply but didn't chase desperately. That contradiction creates mental tension, and humans seek resolution. Often that resolution comes in the form of reconnection. But understand something critical. Not every woman returns. And paradoxically, the mindset that attracts her back is the same mindset that is okay if she doesn't. Emotional self-sufficiency is irresistible because it signals abundance. Desperation signals scarcity. Scarcity repels. Abundance attracts. Let's talk about fear of abandonment. Many men who chase are not chasing her. They're chasing the feeling of not being alone. When she leaves, it activates childhood wounds. Rejection feels amplified. If you don't heal that internally, even if she comes back, the dynamic will repeat. She will test again. You will panic again. And eventually, the cycle will exhaust both of you. This is why acting differently is not a tactic. It's evolution. When she senses that your emotional state is no longer dependent on her mood, she relaxes. Women are highly sensitive to emotional instability. If your happiness rises and falls with her attention, she feels pressure. But when you remain steady, warm, but grounded, she feels safe. Imagine her lying in bed at night. She checks her phone. No message from you. At first, she feels empowered, then confused, then slightly unsettled. Her mind replays your memories, your jokes, the way you held her. Emotional memory is powerful, especially if you ended things without bitterness. The absence of drama makes the nostalgia stronger. Now imagine she texts you again. This time longer, curious, testing the waters. You respond with composure, no resentment. No emotional interrogation. Just presence. Calm presence. That energy disarms her defenses. She expected anger or desperation. Instead, she finds maturity. That contrast creates attraction. Here's another psychological layer. Women are drawn to men who are chosen by life, meaning men who have options, purpose, movement, not men who orbit around one source of validation. When you rebuild yourself physically, socially, financially, emotionally, you radiate momentum. Momentum is magnetic. Stagnation is suffocating. But let's be honest, you're scared. You're afraid that if you don't act, she'll forget you, that another man will replace you, that your silence will be misinterpreted as indifference. That fear is natural, but attraction has never been built on fear-driven behavior. It's built on emotional control. If she left because she felt overwhelmed, your calmness becomes relief. If she left because she felt unappreciated, your improved listening becomes intrigue. If she left because she lost attraction, your transformation becomes curiosity. But if she left because you betrayed trust deeply, understand that rebuilding requires consistency over time, not quick fixes. Now let's address obsession. When you disappear in a dignified way, you interrupt her emotional pattern. Humans crave closure. If you don't beg for it, she wonders why. The unanswered question becomes heavier than the argument itself. And sometimes that weight pulls her back to you. But there's one more layer most people miss. When she returns, do not reward her disappearance with instant exclusivity. Reconnection must be gradual. If she feels she can leave and return without consequence, respect erodes. Boundaries create value. Calm boundaries, not ultimatums. Picture the final scene. Months later, she's sitting across from you again. Different energy, softer, more intentional. She tells you she's been thinking, that she misses what you had, that she realizes something. And in that moment, you don't feel desperate relief. You feel choice. Because during her absence, you built yourself into someone who doesn't need to be chosen to feel worthy. That's the paradox. She comes back when she senses you no longer fear losing her. And even if she doesn't return, you will have transformed into someone stronger, more emotionally intelligent, more grounded. That version of you doesn't chase love. He attracts it. So if you're in that silent space right now, breathe. Don't panic text. Don't perform. Don't collapse. Reclaim your center. Let her feel your absence without hostility. Let curiosity do what chasing never could. Because when you act from calm confidence instead of wounded attachment, you shift the entire dynamic. And that shift is what makes her look back. If this exposed something inside you, if you felt seen in your silence, in your overthinking, in your fear of losing her, then understand this is just the surface of female psychology and emotional attraction. Subscribe to Heart Psychology for more truths that most people are too afraid to say out loud.